misconceptions that have been connected to Kabbalah all throughout history, which connects Kabbalah to religion, connects Kabbalah to mysticism, connects Kabbalah to tarot, to red strings, to all kinds of things that it's not. And if you're really trying to explain what is authentic Kabbalah and how to differentiate it from those things, science becomes the most accurate way of explaining it. How does it come about that Kabbalah is explained as science? So a general idea of it is this, that science is a research of reality through the five senses, and the results are registered and repeatable. Kabbalah, as a science, is a research of the upper reality, or a reality which is beyond our five senses, and it requires developing a new sense, what can be called a sixth sense. And likewise, through the development of this new sense and the perception of this new reality, you get results that are registered and repeatable. And all throughout history, Kabbalists have been getting these results and writing about them in their books, similar to how a physicist would go out and conduct experiments and register the results that the physicist gets and put them in the books that other scientists can go and repeat. And if they repeat the same experiments, so then they'll get the similar results. So it's the same thing, it's the exact same thing here. So this was the basis of explaining Kabbalah as a science. Due to the complexity of explaining this, I'll draw a little bit here. In short, you have five senses, sight, smell, touch, hearing, and taste. And you have all this information coming in contact with these five senses. And our five senses greatly limit this information, making us only really perceive a tiny amount of it. And then from this tiny amount of information that they absorb, it gets further processed, and only the most self-serving information, only the information that our will to receive, since we are ultimately this desire to absorb and receive pleasure all the time, so that gives us a picture which is called this world. That's what we know as our world, or our reality. So out of billions and billions and billions of bits of information out here, we just get this tiny portion of that at every single moment that we can say is our world. And what is actually out here, we can't say anything about that. And this is the limits that several scientists, mainly people involved in quantum physics, quantum mechanics, started discussing, that we really can't say anything about what's outside of our senses, because everything we perceive and everything we sense is in our sense, it comes as a result of some kind of contact with our senses. So the wisdom of Kabbalah relates to this, what you could say, a crisis in science that started becoming acknowledged by small circles, because popularly science became less of a philosophical endeavor and became more of a endeavor in using science to create technologies and things that we can make use of. Most people involved in science don't get into the philosophical aspect of it, but people, the small, you could say, niche group of scientists that do deal with that, reach this kind of limit and deal with this limit and what they consider as a crisis in science, and work with that all the time. And lots of philosophical questions about free will. They emerge from this investigation. So Kabbalah comes and says that what happens here is we develop a new sense, you could say, outside of these senses, the sixth sense. Sixth sense is just a way of calling it. I don't want you getting that mixed up with how you sometimes hear about sixth sense being described as intuition or something. It's got nothing to do with intuition. The sixth sense in Kabbalistic languages, it's the masach. You'll hear it referred to as the masach, or the screen. Masach literally translates to the screen, where with that you can reflect the forces that are constantly working at this level. You can reflect them, you can give them back. It's a sense of bestowal. Other than these senses that receive, and which, all the five senses are receptors. It works according to this inward direction to receive. So this new sense is a sense that perceives according to bestowal. That's why it can't even be imagined to us how we perceive this reality through bestowal. And then we start developing the perception of the upper worlds out here. That's how the wisdom of Kabbalah works.
you.